Welcome to the Unstuck Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Miner. This weekly no-fluff mindset show arms you with the practical tools you need to get unstuck so you can get exactly what you want out of life. Remember, when you change your mind, your life will follow. Let's get into today's episode. Hey there, friends. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Unstuck. I'm going to give you a little bit of a pep talk today. This is a different kind of episode I'll be throwing in here and there. I mean, who doesn't need a pep talk sometimes or all the time, right? And what I want to do is just make these a little shorter, a little more, even more to the point than some of the other episodes, and just hopefully give you something to think about and to kind of start seeing a shift in yourselves, which of course, I think that's what we're doing in all of these episodes here on Unstuck. But this one, just shorter, sweeter, to the point, and just really hoping to lift you up and see things a little differently in as little time as possible. So that's going to be today's episode, but it will be a little longer because first, I have something very, very exciting to share with you all. The wait is finally over. I can finally talk about what I've been working on behind the scenes for you over the past few months. And I know I've given you a little bit of hints here and there, so you may already have an idea of what's coming, but now let's talk about it. What I have done, what I am doing, what I am going to be putting my efforts into for the long term is in an unstuck community. I really just felt this need. I mean, I could see it in all of you that have gotten in touch with me, how much it is needed to have a community of like-minded women who are also really invested in doing this work for themselves and for others. We need to all come together. We need to share what we're doing. We need a place to ask questions and just provide support for each other and get coached along the way, provide this extra detail, this extra step in the process of becoming who you want to be and having the mindset that you want to have. And when I think back to when I started this work on myself, there were two things that were missing for me. One was the community. I had almost nobody to talk about the work that I was doing on myself, because when I did bring up energetic vibrations and energy healing and manifesting and law of attraction and the universe and these words that we use here and what we discuss here, when I would talk about that with people in my life at the time, most of them gave me either a blank stare or kind of that you're a little crazy look, right? Thinking maybe I'm a little woo-woo. I'm really going out there on a limb to try to heal myself. So I was doing this work totally alone. There was definitely this sense of loneliness when it came to having a community that I could use to support my efforts. I didn't have that. And then also, I really felt the desire to have a place to go where I could continue learning and growing and being coached and provide the consistency, because I think you'll notice, maybe you already have, or if not, you might in the future, where this work needs to kind of be top of mind. It needs to remain something that is very much a piece of your life. And if not, it kind of starts fading away. And when it fades away, then those past habits can come back in pretty darn quickly, where you're getting into autopilot mode, where you're stressing yourself out, where that constant chatter in your head is back, the negative thoughts and emotions come back up, and you get back to where you started. And I felt this way too. And I actually let my mindset practice go several times just as real life took hold. And I would feel it and I would see it. I would see those changes in my life where things were going super well. My mindset was amazing and I was reaping the benefits of it. And then as that kind of dwindled, then I would get back to where I had started, and those, negative thoughts and emotions would come back up. And the unwanted things in my life would start showing themselves again. So this is where I really learned that this is a practice. It's a lifetime of work and commitment and consistency. And I know I've talked about that a lot in past episodes, and I know you all are on board. But what I think is hard about that is that there's just other stuff going on, of course. You need the reminding. And also, I think you need to add a little bit more focus and intention to where it always stays fresh, it always stays new, it always stays exciting, it always stays feeling really good. And so that is where I'm kind of putting everything that honestly I wanted so badly when I was first starting this work 3.5 years ago now. I'm putting all that together for you in one package. And it is the Unstuck Collective, where we have a combination of community with our own private channel to connect with other like-minded women, share our stories, ask our questions, get support, get guidance, get clarity, whatever you need, and you will have zero people looking at you like you're crazy, thinking you might be a little too woo-woo or out there for them. You will have none of that in the Unstuck Collective, which is so nice. And also providing a place to continue to get coached and get that consistent reminders of what you are doing and why. Provide a focus and an intention for you week by week. And this is all obviously coming from me as your mindset coach and guide along this journey and consultant. Whatever you want me to be, I will be there for you, along with your new high vibe besties in the community. So right now we are starting April 1st, and right now I'm looking for those founding members who want to get started right away, join the community, be there from day one, and be a part of this with me. It is an ongoing month-to-month membership community where you will get weekly focuses and journal prompts from me. We'll do monthly live coaching and just this kind of mentorship type call with both me and your fellow Unstuck Collective members, where we all get together every single month and do some Q&A, do some coaching, maybe even some hot seat type items where we go deep into one person's things they're working out and look into that. And of course, this kind of stuff, it's like, it may not be you who's in the hot seat, but you get so much information to help in your case when you do hear from others and their stories and see them get coached. So we're going to do all of that every single month together live. And of course, it'll be recorded if you can't make it to some of them. And every month you will also get a meditation exercise from me. You will be a part of, if you want to, be a part of the Unstuck Book Club, where we will also have discussions around books we're reading, things we do and don't like about each book, things that did or did not resonate with us. And we are even going to have experts in other areas, still having to do with mindset, but more like energy healing, limiting beliefs, Reiki, intuitive healing, maybe even some psychic readings or astrology, whatever you guys want to do. We will call those experts into the group and do live trainings with them as well. So as you can see, I mean, there's so much more, than you can get more information about everything that's included at seanminer.com/collective. And then of course, save your spot there too if you want to be a founding member. But what I want you to see is that what we're doing is really making this a part of our lives. We are making our practice into becoming the best version of ourselves, into getting what we want, feeling the way we want to feel, and doing this life justice. We are going to be taking that to the next level in the Unstuck Collective. So if that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, if you are ready to take the next step with me, I'd love to have you. I'd love to have you in the Unstuck Collective. Again, seanminer.com/collective to save your seat. And like I said, we are starting first thing in April. So you only have a little bit of time, and there are a very limited number of seats to become a founding member of the Unstuck Collective. So make sure you head over there ASAP and see if it's something that speaks to you and that sounds good to you. And if so, I will see you there April 1st. We'll start chatting. We'll just get into our own little forum and chat away and just learn and listen and hear and explore all things mindset, and do so in the comfort of a group of wonderful, supportive, like-minded women. So head over there, and if it's already closed when you see that, it just means that the founding member spots have been taken. I will open this back up in a few months, I think probably late summer, fall time, for more members. So you can be on the lookout for that. And if you don't want to wait that long, head over to seanminer.com/collective to get going, and I will see you inside so soon. I cannot wait. I am this is beyond anything I've ever wanted to do in my life, is to have this community and to be able to connect with you all on such a deeper level and a more intimate level than I can do here. All right, let's move on. Like I said, today is going to be a little bit of a pep talk, smaller, shorter episode, but absolutely full of the juiciest stuff I can ever provide you. So if you ever see something labeled as a pep talk in the title, you're going to want to listen because it's going to be juicy. I love that word. I love using that when talking about mindset work. Today, I want to focus on something that we've already heard about a lot on this podcast, both from myself and the guests that I've already had on the show. And I can tell you for sure that every single guest that comes on the show in the future is going to say the same thing. So we might as well just go over it now and get it all cleared up and give you a new outlook on the subject. You are not your body. Yes, you have a body, but you are not your body, and there is a big difference there. For me, it is something when I really learned and absorbed this, it absolutely changed everything for me. It took me some time to really wrap my head around it, to really understand it, and to consciously choose to believe it and to think it and to choose this path. But once I did, I felt a sense of freedom and peace that I never knew could happen, especially as it related to my physical body, because as most of you know, most of my life was spent trying to change and alter my physical body however I could. Whatever needed to happen, I was willing to do in order to be smaller, to be thinner, to be fitter, to whatever, all the everything that I thought I wanted was wrapped up in the shape and size of my body. This is actually something that came up in one of my past live calls recently. I believe it was the Food and Body Freedom call, the Empower Intensive one I did just a little over a month ago. If you were there, you might remember this, but it was an answer to a question that I received, and we started talking about this topic of you are not your body. And once I kind of said what I needed to say on the topic, I got the response in the chat box from several people saying that was so powerful. I really needed to hear that. No one's ever said that to me before in a way that I could understand. So obviously, when I get that response from something that I say, it means I need to make it a podcast topic. It means I need to reach a broader audience with that message. So that's why we're here today. So far, we've talked about that other voice in our heads quite a bit here. We call it the mean girl. We call it that ego voice, that constant chatter. Whatever you have decided to call it or name it, totally cool. I like the mean girl, but when we know she's coming out, when we start having that constant chatter, when we start noticing negativity in our thoughts, when we start being critical of ourselves or others, it's the voice in your head that is affirming your limiting beliefs or those stories that you've carried around for years and years and years. And it's also the voice that keeps you stuck. So we've talked about that voice a lot, and hopefully by now you've at least started doing some of that work that we lay out here, that we talk about all the time here, where you at minimum are at least able to notice that voice. You may not be at the point where you can choose to ignore it or where you can silence it or where you can go the opposite way. You may not be there, but at least hopefully you are starting to notice that mean girl voice and even seeing it as something other than you. So you almost are at the point where you can separate, like, that's my mean girl voice and here I am over here. So that's her chattering, but I'm here a lot more peaceful, a lot more positive, a lot more focused on the present moment and more positive. There we go with those 4 P's again. So you might be at that point where you can see yourself as something other than that mean girl voice. So now today, I want to start doing the same thing with your physical body. And I want to see if we can get to the point eventually. It may not be today, right after listening to this podcast, but might at least give you a start into being able to see that you, the real you, is not your body. They are 2 separate things. So of course, I have a quote. I love this one. It might take you a few times actually saying it to yourself or hearing it before it really clicks in. Here we go. This is from Michael Beckwith. Something within you knows that within you is the answer. Something within you knows that within you is the answer. So of course, that is not directly saying you are not your body, but it is saying you are not your body when you really think about it, because that is showing that you know that you have an inner being, an inner voice, an inner self. And that is the real you. Now, before we go any further, I do want to give you a little warning for some of you that this may not be something you've ever considered. This may not be something you've never thought about things in this way, I guess. And it might seem a little out there. It might seem a little woo-woo. You might not be ready to go there, and that's fine. But I do want you to remember to take what you want, leave what you don't. That is the whole premise of this podcast. So if something resonates with you, cool. If it doesn't, cool. But there's always a message that will get through to you in all of this. Let yourself be open to that. All right. Anyway, let's get back. Here's the scoop. At this point in our lives, because of conditioning from the outside world, many of us are now seeing ourselves only in our physical form, or we're defining ourselves defining ourselves by things that are outside of us. So it's like our size, our shape, our weight, of course, even our gender, our skin color, our hair color, our age, what we do for a living. If you're a wife or a partner, if you have kids and how many. And you can really tell this if you just kind of fill in the blank of I am. What do you say? I am a lawyer. I'm a teacher. I am a mom. I'm a wife. I am 150 pounds. I am a CrossFit athlete. I am just a lot of that. If you really look at it, when you say I am, it comes with the outside version of who you are. But what we really want to understand, what I really want you to understand, is that you are so much more than that. I'm not saying that those things aren't in your life. You do practice law. You do teach math. You do have kids. You do have a partner, but they are not you. That is not you, because what you are is an energetic being. You have been given this opportunity to live out a human life. You are an energetic being that has been given the opportunity to be a human and to have this human experience. So when you think about it that way, all your body is the vehicle to get you through this human experience, to get you through this life on earth. That's all your body is. You are in physical form, a body, but you are in energetic form, a being. And this is, if you hear people talk about spirit or soul, inner being, the real you, that's what they mean. And if you're doing meditations and they're guided, a lot of people will guide you into your inner self, your inner being, and to connect with that. Any sort of energetic healing is going to do that. Intuitive healing, of course, is going to do that. That's what it means. So call it what you want. It doesn't matter if you think it's the spirit or your soul or your inner you. It doesn't matter, of course. We don't care what you call it, but it is up to you to start understanding that that is who you are, and your body is just carrying you around. It's allowing you to have this experience. It is a vessel. It is your meat suit, which is what I like to call it. And that's what I said in the Food and Body Freedom course. That's what I called it. Just our meat suit. It's our meat suit for our actual being, who we actually are. And it connects to your inner being. And that is where really we can kind of see the thought that your outer being, which is your physical body, is in direct reflection. It is a mirror of your inner being. So if you have things going on with your physical body, it is up to you to look inwards to your inner being to really, truly understand what those issues are and why you are having them. Most of us at this point, because of the world we live in and what we're taught and what we see and what we know, we are ignoring our inner being, just totally, completely ignoring it. We are ignoring the fact that we have this endless supply, this never-ending flow of love, light, connection to the universe, and just overall knowing and guidance and clarity and everything we wanted in us already. But we have lost that connection. We don't feel it or see it or know it's there, which means instead we are wasting our precious, precious time and our ability to live a human experience on things like the pound you gained over the weekend, or the dimple that shows when you wear a bathing suit, or the pimple that popped up out of nowhere. We spend our time and energy and efforts worrying about this stuff rather than connecting to our inner selves, which will guide us unconditionally on the right path for our lifetime. And of course, when you do that, then all you're doing is kind of re-emphasizing the fact that you think you are just a body, that you are just a physical form, when in reality, you are so much more. And that's what I really, really want to get across to you today in this pep talk, is that it's time to realize and recognize and get back to enjoying and connecting with your inner self and letting that guide your life, using your energy for good and purpose, and take this amazing opportunity you have of being a human and live it through your inner guidance system. You are not your body, you have a body. And you are so, so fortunate to have a body to take with you through this experience that we call life, You are so fortunate. So live it. So stop thinking that you are just this physical being and start realizing how much more you have inside of you, just waiting for you to be like, oh, hey there. Hey there, inner self. Sorry, I've been ignoring you all this time. Let's get to it. Let's actually live this life the way I'm supposed to live it. Can you guide me? Yeah, guess what it's going to say? Heck yeah, let's do this. Let's try that. Let's try that approach and see how it feels. And I will be sharing my tip, my trick. It's actually a meditation, a form of meditation that I do. And I will guide you through that in the Unstuck Collective on how to really visualize and see your inner self coming to light, coming to the surface and guiding you. I know, again, that may sound a little out there for you, but oh my gosh, it works so well and it feels so good. And that's what I really love about, saying, yes, this stuff is going to be a lifetime of work for you, but it is such fun, amazing, beautiful, wonderful work that feels so good and provides you so much goodness. There is absolutely no reason why we should want to go back to our lives that was just kind of, not so great, but okay, but not great, but fine. Who wants to go back to that? And if you do not make this a lifelong practice, it will start going back to that is our natural tendency. It is what we have been conditioned to do. So we have to work to recondition ourselves, and it is a lifetime of work. It is never ending. It is a daily practice, but a daily fun and invigorating and wonderful thing for you to do for yourself that provides you more clarity, that provides you more time, that provides you more energy, and all these excuses that you might have as to why you can't do this. It's going to do all of that for you. Yes, that is so wonderful to hear, right? So join me in the Unstuck Collective if that is something that you are ready to participate in. It's literally like 10 minutes a day. That's all I ask. And then it's going to seep into the rest of your life, whether you even are knowing it or not. And that is when your whole life changes. So if you can do that, if you can make the most of it and really are ready, then I would love to have you. SeanMiner.com/collective. And regardless, I hope you take this pep talk message and really give it some deeper thought, really start understanding what's really going on, what you've really been putting your focus on. Have you really been ignoring your inner being and only looking to outer sources to understand who you are and what to do? And if so, let's turn those tables and then see what happens. Let's dive in to your soul, your spirit, your inner you, and go from there. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me. I will talk to you soon. Until then, take care.